What's up, guys? It's Charles here with Rocket Punch Army to do a review. Today we have the BF-01 P99 Bolt Forms Gladius The Dark Emperor. This actually comes straight to me from Bolt Forms themselves. So just want to give a big shout out to them and an apology for the delay in getting this video up. There's a lot of things going on besides just issues with computers and things like that that take priority, even though I do have a responsibility to them and my viewers. But sometimes other things get in the way. But anyway, enough about that. Yeah, here he is. So what's cool is if we take a look at the box, got like a nice little printed handle there, and I didn't quite get it at first, and then I was like, duh, because it happens to be designed after one of these bad boys. I don't know if you can see it, kind of doesn't fit there. It's a little bit bigger than that, but it's an ammo box. So it's got the handle, it's got the little thing on the side that opens up. I don't have ammo. I actually keep LiPo batteries in there because I am an avid user of radio control things. But anyway, back to the box. Here it is. The box is a little beat up. Not a big deal. They did send this out as a review. I'm sure they're not going to pick the best one out of the bunch, but obviously buy this from a reputable company. But again, this came directly from them, so it is a sample piece, so I'm not going to complain. But we can see here, beautiful design in robot mode. This is really what attracted my attention. Obviously a modernized hand pistol, whatever you want to call it, handgun, and of course it's really cool that it does the triple changer. That's really like the highlight of this set. But I'm a old school G1 guy, so even though G1 did have or whatever triple changes and all that stuff, Megatron to me is just a gun and robot. But it's really cool they worked in a tank mode. We'll get into that later. There's a lot of engineering going on to be able to do that. And obviously the accessories. I'm going to open up the styro here. Pieces will probably fall out. Yep, they sure did. We got 3 different little faces. We got a little mean face. We have a little smirk. I don't know if you can see that. And then like almost like a growl, scowling look right there. You'll notice the eyes are not built into the face. And then of course the styrofoam, which of course I have upside down. But this is where the figure would be. I don't know how easy it is to see with all the white going on, but provide some shadow there. That's where the figure would be in robot form. Some pieces. This is where the faces would go. And underneath is all like the scopes and things like that, and of course the matrix. Alright, so I'm looking at the matrix. It's just molded in black. It's very nicely detailed. I'm almost thinking, originally they wanted to include a lot more paint apps. I don't know the whole story behind the design of this, but I almost feel like maybe they wanted this to be, in color, which it's fine. I'm a modeler myself, so I don't mind customizing stuff, but I almost feel like that's what they originally wanted to do. Maybe at the end things didn't work out. I don't know. I don't know the full story, but the face is painted. It's got the little details there, so they did put paint apps where they do matter. Everything else is colored plastic. The plastics feel really good. I love the feel of like this plastic. I mean, it's really flexible, so I'm not really afraid of breaking it, although I wouldn't flex this way out. But yeah, so far so good. We're just going to jump right into his tank mode. The reason I have it in tank mode first is, the instructions, I'll be honest, weren't the clearest thing, and I did have help from, a representative over at Bolt Forms that has been very helpful. Thank you so much. But I'm not used to something so complicated. You guys know what I'm into. I do have some pretty exquisite pieces, but I gotta say the engineering on this is really like mind-blowing, because there's so many things where I'm like, I would never be able to sit down and think of this, but they did. But yes, I got into tank mode, and I'd like to start off with that. That way I can show you, you know, the other ones. I guess in the order, or the backwards order of the way, of my favorite modes. So a lot of the misalignment has to do with the fact that I do live with children. So this unfortunately was chilling in the living room for a little while I was taking pictures, and little hands got on it, and it's just you know, it's just a mess when you have kids. But I tried to get it back to where it should be. It was a matter of just getting these things aligned together, because you have to actually align these correctly for obviously it to be straight. And I was originally transforming it with this out here because I thought it looked kind of cool, sort of like protecting the treads, which I guess if that's something you want to do is fine, but I believe it is this way. And I was looking at some older test shots where I did see like silver bits coming out of this part here, and these can be extended, by the way, and it had like red highlights here on the missiles. So I think the idea was to, you know, have a little more color on this. And it also had a stand, and if I'm not mistaken, there was other accessory pieces, you know, which were the original idea. But again, here he is. As far as you know, rolling and things like that, it doesn't have wheels, which is fine. I know a lot of people say, oh, it should have wheels. I really don't care to have wheels. I'm not wheeling these things around. And on top of that, this is definitely not something that you want to give to a kid to play. So I mean, if you want wheels, most likely you're wanting to play with this, and it's not really that kind of toy, guys. This is more for you know, mature collectors, or I don't know the other word I'm trying to find, but in other words, collectors that are not about rolling things on the floor and zooming around the room. This is more of a mature piece, let's put it that way. Alright, so it does take patience, but it looks great. I love it. I love this mode. You know, usually triple changers, they got that one mode that looks like it's just forced. This doesn't look that forced to me at all, you know. The only thing I would probably, you know, like to have seen a little bit different is somehow fold this out of the way. And again, I apologize to Bold Forms if I have it transformed correctly. They sent me videos for me to be able to transform this correctly, and the videos are not working. So if anybody wants to leave comments and make fun of me for not transforming correctly, please do, as I want my videos to improve in the future. But anyway, take a spin around here. You can see it's really cool looking. Turrets move up and down, and I showed you before, these bits come out a little bit there, and then this moves, okay, and can be extended up. It's a little loose back here. You know, it's a little pin right there, and it's probably from me playing around, because it wasn't like that when I first got it. And then this piece pegs into this little hole here, which is kind of hard to do, and of course causes misalignment. So I'm just going to leave that alone. But as far as, you know, tank mode, that's pretty much it. You know, there's really nothing else that really, you know, happens around here. And like I said, it's just really like a display piece, because as you can see, any kind of movement really displaces a lot of the panels, and it's, you know, it does hold its form, you know, but it is a piece you want to be careful with, and, you know, obviously pose where you want it and pretty much leave it alone. Now, because I am in the process of moving stuff back to where I originally filmed my videos, I don't have a lot of things to compare it with, but I do have my animated figures, which I never moved into my apartment to begin with. But that's how it compares. It actually looks wrong in front of the camera. This is more like it. If I place it in front of the vehicle, it does make Wheeljack look a lot bigger, but that's pretty much how it scales to that. Alright guys, so that's it for tank mode. I'm going to take a break from these heat lamps, which are melting my face and body, and then I'll be back with gun mode. Alright guys, so to get him into gun mode, I really quickly transformed him into a robot. I don't want to give out or give away too much while we're here, which is why he's not transformed correctly, so you guys don't get an idea of what he looks like in my hand yet. But it's a little easier for me to get him into gun mode from robot mode. And I know it's a Transformer review, but honestly, you know, I don't want the review to be a half an hour, because then nobody would watch it. But the transformation is a little on the complex side. So I'll stop every once in a while and show you guys what's going on, but I'm not going to do that whole you know, transformation sequence, because you know, this video would not be done till maybe 2023. Alright, so here you can start to see a little bit of the complexity. So, but pretty much what I did was just fold in his crotch piece here so far, and his little butt cheeks I squeezed in, and then I transformed the arm. You have to be, you know, because I have seen people say, oh, this doesn't line up and whatever. You have to orientate everything in there. There's like two little tabs. You can see just the little white tabs. There's another tab right after that goes right in there. So take a look at how that's orientated. Now you see those little black discs on either side? That's one of the ones that I lost because I had transformed him, or tried to transform him when I first got this, without having that orientated right, and it popped off. That's why I lost it. It was no fault of the quality control from Bolt Forms themselves, just the stupidity of mine, but that's how it should be orientated, and it makes everything tab in very nicely. Because these pieces, when I first tried them, I'm like, these things don't line up. You can see they fit perfect. The next part was just really opening up the legs. There's like a little plastic piece right here that you have to shift from one notch to the other, spin this around, which is normally this way, and then get this flap to go around, and you're essentially forming the handle of the gun, and then this will stick out here for a little bit. Then I've brought in the hips here together, and you know, put everything, the two halves together. Then we're up to this part. You can see the gun starting to take shape there, and if the head goes right into this hole here snugly. Alright, as you can see, there's a lot going on here, and you'll see there's a lot of, like, you know, linkages and things like that that are kind of on the thin side, but they're made out of nice flexible POM. Okay, the outer shell is actually ABS, and I do like the fact that they show that in the instructions. But this is very flexible stuff, so you don't really have to worry about breaking it or anything. But you can see where we are here, and this you'll see later in the review what I'm, you know, one of the downsides of having soft materials for durability. But you can see where we are now. Most of the top part of the pistol's done, the handle, and these things, if you're not sure what to do with them, they do swing around to the front, which had me confused for a little while, even though the instructions clearly show it now that I look at it. And then these things will tab right over these parts right there. And there's a part here that does make me thankful that this is made out of POM, is, see this little thin bar that runs across the top of this little rectangular piece? That actually snaps over that. Had that been ABS, that would have been gone long ago. I don't see any evidence of stress marks. There is like a mark there, but it's not from the stress mark. It's just from the molding. But right here in the corners would be very huge white stress marks. And even though it's made out of that good material, you really want to be careful with that. I sort of push right up against the edges there. And after that, it's just a matter of, you know, getting all these panels lined up. Alright guys, so here I am at the end. Actually, this goes up here. Yeah, so again, I had to simplify the transformation because it would be very long and tedious to do in the way that I normally do it, which is the little sequence with the music and all that. And also, I don't know if you guys want to watch me fumble around while transforming it. Now, it does have a trigger. It's not spring-loaded. Push it forward and you just push it back. This is like a puzzle, and I love it. Another thing I like is for its complexity, it tabs in really well. The first time I transformed it, I didn't have this gap here, so it's probably the way I just transformed the inner arm here. But it's solid in this mode because everything's nice and compact. And I love the way everything tabs in. Oops, just knocked that out of place. But normally it won't tab out just from normal handling. But like these little panels, for the complexity that it has, they actually tab in pretty well. And I think it looks really good. It's got no hole here like a pistol or whatever, but you're actually supposed to put some attachments on there, which we'll do right now. Actually, the attachments, you know, they come apart and everything. You can actually do several combinations, which I'll show you right here. They do have an option A and option B. So go ahead and attach the nose piece here. Just make sure you have everything orientated right. Pop that in. Goes in easy enough. I just don't really have space for how long this is here, but that's what it looks like there. It doesn't really specify there what I'm supposed to do, but I see that this comes apart here This probably, you know, makes up the back end with this here. There's other stuff in there, I believe. Oh, there we go. My bad. It does specify back here where they're supposed to go and what you're supposed to do. It looks like you created battle stations. My bad. It does show you know, how it's supposed to come apart and everything, just so you can get it back together. It does have instructions for creating a battle station, which we'll check out in a little bit. But let's get the gun mode settled first. Alright, so again, not a lot of space here to show you guys everything. Let's see if I can squeeze back there. Hopefully I don't lose anything. But here's from the front. And as we move back, you can see that attached. This looks like it's supposed to, you know, push forward a little bit more. It seems like it's just friction fit, and it's kind of gets wedged right there. And I don't really know if that's how that's supposed to be in the back, but again, not a lot of space to show you. Actually, the back here is supposed to have the 3, so we'll attach that. It does show you in the instructions towards the end how everything's supposed to go together, so don't assume because you don't see it in the first few pages that it's not in there, like I did. But it's kind of cool, and it's probably the most solid you know, mode in this whole thing. Alright, which, you know, preferably I'd like it to be the robot, but I can understand why this is the most solid since everything's compact. But now what we're going to do is check out the battle station mode. Alright guys, so here's the battle station. I'm going to check out a little bit more of that, you know, when we're in robot mode, but let's pan down so you can take a look. Pretty easy to build, nothing crazy. There are a lot of parts, which is pretty surprising. I thought when I saw the whole scope thing in the box, I said, oh, it's just one piece, and it just came apart into all these wonderful little black plastic pieces. But we're going to save that for robot mode, and I think it pretty much is time to get into robot mode. Now that I'm not going to go through the transformation, is pretty much the opposite of getting him you know, into gun mode. Alright guys, and here he finally is in robot mode, which is my favorite mode of all, because it looks spectacular. I'm usually not a fan of adding you know, stylization to things that I grew up with, for example Megatron and things like that, but it looks good on here. Obviously what I mean by stylization is just, you know, their own take on what Megatron should look like and all the paneling and all the things going on, but it looks really good. I think they did a great job. Now, I would love to compare it to all the other Megatrons that are out there, the masterpiece size, but I'm only going to be able to compare with this guy here. Let's make a little bit of space. Since I am moving around back and forth between things, I don't have the masterpiece Megatron with me. But at least this gives you an idea of the scale. Let's go up a little bit because it kind of distorts the height here. But Megatron is taller, or excuse me, Gladius. Now as far as looks, he's got it down pat. But here's where a lot of I guess collectors, I mean, if you're a collector of Transformers toys, it makes you a collector, but there's obviously different ranges of collectors. There's collectors that play with their stuff. There's collectors that pose their stuff and put it away behind glass like me. And there's collectors that do a little bit of both, right? And then, you know, obviously there's people that love to handle things and all that. I'm one of those that doesn't handle toys too much, which is, you know, a good thing, because this guy's really not meant to be manhandled. You know, I mean, it's I'm not going to say he's the most solid thing on the planet, but you can see there is a lot of moving around. And of course, you're not going to be playing with your figures, wobbling them around like that, but it just gives you an indication of what to expect. And this little knob that flew off is just a press fit, so you can actually spin it on there, but you just want to be careful with that. Speaking of being careful, I have sausage fingers. There is one thing I did on this, not too proud of, is one of the joint pieces from messing around so much with transformation and really just not paying attention to what I'm doing. I knocked off one of these little things which are glued on. It's just one of these little joint things. The funny thing is, my daughter kept finding it on the floor. She kept saying, "Daddy, what is this? What is this?" I said, "No, no, no, put that down, put that down." And for like days and days and days, I would see that thing just laying around on top of the dresser, on the floor. And now that I know what it is, it's gone, of course. Anyway, getting back to this, you have to take into account the amount of things going on. You can't expect something to be, you know, tight as a rock if it has 1,000,000 pieces. Alright, so like I said, there's a lot of engineering going on. There's a lot of little trickery that goes on that's kind of blows my mind here and there as I transform it, but it is great for display and light handling. So I mean, it could do with some more paint apps. I'm sure that was the idea at first. For example, here, his six-pack, or whatever you want to call it, his abs, you know, could use a little bit of detail. So it kind of has like a unfinished model look. I mean, they did mold everything in color, but of course, if you're good with you know, Gundam markers and things like that, you can really get this thing to really pop. The face is, you know, painted, which is good. Kind of wish they just did it in the gray plastic, honestly, because it kind of you know, stands out a little bit compared to the rest of the gray. You know, it would have been cool just the regular colored plastic, but then again, I don't know. Maybe had it been that way, I'd be complaining that it's not painted. But you can see the rest of the figure does have, you know, parts molded in color, and I like the figure. I mean, it's got ratchets. You can hear that. All right, which really help in, you know, holding the figure together. So even up here, the shoulders move. All right, you can see that more of the what's going on here. And while we're on that subject, let's go ahead and check out articulation here a bit. So we got the head. All right, let me actually zoom back a bit. Got the head here. You see that it's got a neck joint, but then it's also got the lower neck swivel. Has a waist that has like really soft ratchets. You don't really hear them, but you kind of feel them as you spin. I did show you the ratchets on these shoulders here. We got the double jointed elbow, which even though it's double jointed, you can see there, because of the design of this, you know, it gets in the way, but you can actually spin it this way. Hopefully that gives a little more articulation, which it does. So you can always do that. The legs, they do ratchet out this way. They ratchet back in, and we got the knees right here, and then we got the feet here. There's like a small amount of ankle tilt, just enough to get a nice pose, and the hands here have the individual fingers just at the knuckles, like the you know, right on top, the right here, not the individual fingers each little bit, but individual fingers as far as from the knuckles. Anyway, so the thumb is stationary. It does have a tab here to hold on, which would be like a weapon. And you get these flaps here that move. That's part of the transformation, really. Legs forward. You get the little panels here that pop up so you can bring the leg forward, fold the knees. And I know it's glaring right now that the top half just popped off. Most people that I've seen just end up pushing it down like that, which holds it, but there's actually a little tab right here that tabs in the back. So there's a little slot there. I don't know if you can see it, but you got to put that in first and then get that there. Let's see if we can see. There's that little nub. Got to push that little nub into the hole and then pop that in, and it holds a lot more securely. As we're taking a look at him, let's take a look at the back. Back's not too bad. I love the way this folds up. I mean, it could have been a lot, you know, messier, but they did a pretty good job keeping that back pat looking somewhat legit. Looks like he's got a bunch of weapons just folded up, which is pretty cool. But it's nice and symmetrical, nothing weird. Well, not counting this, it's symmetrical, but you obviously got the blaster on the back here. Now, he does have different faces. I've kept that little laughing one on there, but he's also got this one where he's like kind of upset. I was showing you guys that before. As far as you know, putting it on, it's rather easy. Right? You just gotta take the, well, I take the head off. This makes it a little easier to show you guys on camera, but it's got that little face behind there, which is pretty cool. Right? All you fans should know what that is. And put the new one on. Right there. Eyes go right through. And then just pop it back on. It's also got a matrix. Not much you can do with it, actually. The hands don't fit through it. I don't know what the idea of having the matrix in there is without him being able to really do anything. Maybe if you want to pop it in his chest, you can actually, let's see if I can do this without taking him apart. But you can actually bring this down, and there's really no place to tab it on or anything, but you can place it in there if you'd like. The only thing I wish was a little tighter was maybe, you know, this. It's not too bad right here. But other than that, I love this robot. I mean, it looks great. That's ultimately what I want from my robots, is to look great. Now, I did show you the battle station, so let's see what it looks like with Megatron. Not a lot of space here, guys. I'm so sorry about that, but you know, I don't know. There's nothing to latch onto, so I'm just gonna have him stand there. It just really looks like a big crotch missile rocket launching system. But it's pretty cool. I mean, they did something with you know, parts that were just going to be here anyway. Might as well do something with them. But yeah, that's what he looks like with the battle station. And we also wanted to show you guys, or it's only me here. Trying to sound very professional here by saying we, like I have people working under me. It's just me, guys. We got the Energon X thing, whatever you want to call it. You open up the hands, he's got a little tab here. I could have sworn, I don't know whose video I was watching, they said there was no way for him to hold it, but he can. I'm being a little stubborn there, but there we go. Pop this back on. As you can see, he does most definitely hold it. So that's a cool little feature. Again, it would have been cool if this was like a different color or something, but at least he's got a weapon. You know, because they were nice enough to send this out and everything, I didn't want to, you know, if I didn't end up liking the robot, I didn't want to bash on it, because, you know, they did contact me, and I thought that was cool that they wanted to support the channel. So if I didn't like this robot, you know, I wouldn't review it. But I got to say, I really do like it. I'm just a little bummed out I lost that little piece, because I want to display it. You know, maybe I'll just do like a resin cast piece or whatever. But I do like the robot. Alright, guys, and that's pretty much it. If you want to pick one of these up, you can click the link in the description below. Especially you customizers, I'd like to see if anybody has done any customization on this. That would be awesome, because there's little pistons on the feet and everything. Maybe, you know, there's people that have worked on that. But yeah, click the link in the description below. It helps me out to continue to bring you more reviews. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Until next time, bye bye.